Well, good evening, everyone. So on behalf of Brooke Tiller, and she's changed my speech, and myself, and everyone else who's on the Impacts 100 Steering Committee, it's really my pleasure to welcome you to the second annual night of the Big Give. Brooke, it's really about priorities. See, last year at the Big Give, my shoes broke, which is kind of ironic because we're all about our shoes. We're heels for change, after all. So as Brooke joined me on this stage this evening, the first thing out of her mouth was, I thought these shoes were comfortable, and my feet are already starting to hurt. It's okay, we're women, it's all about the shoes. I would like to begin this evening by thanking our sponsors for their support, particularly the Peninsula Community Foundation, who is an integral partner in this process. So please let's give them a hand.
Did we mention that they helped us for the second year in a row raise $100,000?
We have some additional thank yous that you will find listed in the program, but that includes Wells Fargo, Drucker & Falk, the Grey Goose, who did the wonderful catering this evening, the Peninsula Fine Arts Center, which, if you don't know, I run, so I'm a little fond of them. Hampton Roads Academy for being such a gracious host, Ferguson Enterprises for donating their facilities and really giving a wonderful party to try to recruit additional members. Hampton Stationery and all of their efforts, they've really done a lot for us this year. And Tara Farrell Photography, if you've not had your picture taken, it's not because she's not asked you to, so thank you very much. It really takes a strong team of volunteers to make Impact 100 run, and we really need to thank all the members of the steering committee as well as our grant review team. At this time, I'd like you to please stand and wave at the audience so we can all give you a round of applause.
Second year in a row has hosted us here this evening. Peter Morris is the headmaster, and I'd like him to say a few words and welcome everybody here.
Sure. Welcome to Hampton Roads Academy. It is our pleasure to have you back here again this year, and I hope that you'll be here next year and many more years to come. Those of you who know me know that I tend to harp on certain themes. One that I am particularly fond of is the school's mission, which was just actually reaffirmed by our Board of Trustees after good, deep discussion less than 2 hours ago in an annual review to make sure that we are what we say we are and we're committed to what we say that we are committed to. Hampton Roads Academy is an inclusive community of service and compassion. We prepare students to excel intellectually, artistically, physically, and morally for higher education and for life. The other thing that I harp on to our students and to our faculty and to our parents is the idea of role model. In particular, tonight I just want to mention that in that mission, we define our school as an inclusive community of service and compassion. And I'd like to thank you tonight for being the role models for that, for service and compassion in all that you do and all that you bring to our community, the greater community, and also the Hampton Roads Academy. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome here this evening. I think it's fabulous that you've reached your goal of $100,000. Congratulations on all that. Welcome to our school, and it's good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I I have to brag on Brooke and I, some of the fellow members of the steering committee. We're all alums of Hampton Roads Academy, so we like to think we model that mission each and every year that we commit ourselves to this process. So thanks again for being supportive of your alumni, and hopefully we're setting a pathway for the students that see the commitment that each of us make to the community.
Okay, in your packets this evening is a renewal form for year 3. This is a legacy of raising $100,000 every year. Have I mentioned?
Brooke, did you say that we're raising $100,000 every single year?
And I have to tell you, the best conversation I had this night earlier was with someone who looked at me and she pulled out the renewal form and she goes, "This is for 3 years in a row. I think it's so wonderful you're allowing me to prepay my commitment." So yes, we can do that as well. But seriously, here's what we want you to know is we want you to feel strongly about this evening, about the work that we're doing in the community. Please sign up for next year before you leave. You do not have to pay us tonight. You don't have to pay us until next June. Earlier if you want to, but it helps us to know that you're committed, you're along for the ride, and making this a continuing legacy of the entire community.
We have kind of a special treat for you tonight. We were trying to look out in the world and look for an additional person who really could role model for you what we have been trying to do as we bring and start this effort to our community. And each of us were asked to consider such a person. And the first person in my mind that I thought could do that, to share a story with you of their commitment not only to their community, but quite frankly, a passion and commitment that I've seen this person live for over 20 years, was Jane Short. Jane has a professional career. She is a trusted advisor to families for wealth management. But I have witnessed firsthand in my experience with her the commitment that she makes to communities. I first met Jane, I'm embarrassed to tell you, almost, if not over 20 years ago, when she was associated with the Junior League of Miami. I was a very new member of the Junior League of Hampton Roads, and we were working on a strategic planning effort, and the chair of that effort is in the audience with us tonight, Michelle Farabee. She will remember this, where we asked the International Association to give us a person of expertise that could help guide us through the process. At that time, Jane Short lived in Miami, Florida, and they sent her up here, and I gotta tell you, I've been in nonprofit management for longer than I like to care to admit, and she did an excellent job. But I went on to serve with Jane in a variety of nonprofit opportunities, both through my service and her commitment and service to the Virginia Symphony, but also she has done more board trainings for me than she and I probably would like to admit. So it is my pleasure, without further ado, to introduce you to Jane Short.
Thanks, Courtney. It has been a long time. And I'm thrilled to be here. I love when people give away money to really good causes, especially $100,000. So congratulations. I'm glad that Courtney mentioned that the Junior League. I was the president of the Junior League of Miami many years ago, and that organization made a huge impact on me as a young woman and still to this day. And I learned a lot from my association with the Junior League. And in fact, I was in Miami a couple weeks ago. This is one of my best friends from the Junior League. She served on my executive committee, Holly, and we had lunch and we were reminiscing about the year I was president of the Junior League, actually the year I was president-elect of the Junior League, which was to the day, August 24th, 25 years ago, I was there. right there. So you can imagine how I've been feeling this week, seeing that storm barreling down on all my friends and some of my family. And it was kind of a crazy time after Hurricane Andrew hit Miami. And the president of the Junior League that year lived about 3 blocks from me, Coconut Grove, and I had to take a machete to cut our way out of our driveway to get to her house with my cell phone, which is the size of a brick, so that we could start the process of locating our members, making sure everybody was safe. It was a crazy time because the weirdest thing was all of the street signs were blown down, and you were very discombobulated when you could finally get back out on your bicycle or walking, or even when you got to be able to go in a car. And this was the Bloomingdale's store down on Federal Highway in the southern part of Miami. And it looked like a doll's house. The whole eastern wall had been ripped off. You could kind of look in and see all the various departments. And if you notice the B from the Bloomingdale sign is gone. Well, that's because it blew away 2 miles and landed in the backyard of another member of my executive committee. It's a tree. She made a fountain out of it. This week was a little difficult, just keeping track of everybody. Facebook, thank goodness we have Facebook, and everybody's safe. And I was especially worried about my brother who lives in St. Petersburg. But a couple days ago, he sent me this text, and so I knew he was okay. So that was good. But I learned a lot about the power of collective giving through the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew. Even in a little microcosm of my little street, we didn't have electricity for 30 days. So it was crazy. But the first thing that happened was, first of all, we all had freezers full of food. So every night we had like these cookouts on our street. And I had the only gas stove on the block. So I was like the soup kitchen in the morning. People would come in like their nightgowns and their bathrobes with their little coffee cups, and I'd be pouring coffee for everybody. But the collective, people coming together to make big things happen was really one of the wonderful lessons after Hurricane Andrew. In the microcosm of my little street, everyone helping everybody else. And then the Junior League, and all the Junior Leagues all over the United States, sending money and supplies and different things. And then the Junior League working with the Red Cross, and then on to with We Will Rebuild It. And there's the power of collective work and collective giving. As an individual, it's hard to make an impact, but when you group with other individuals and it builds on each other, what a great thing. So I want to talk a little bit about, oops, I'm going wrong, sorry. About philanthropy, because philanthropy is really 2 things. Certainly it's about giving money, but it's more than just giving money. It's also about giving time and effort. Those 2 things combined. And we have a great history in our country of philanthropy. In fact, it's unique to Americans. Other countries around the world are not so philanthropically culture as we are. And really, while there were instances of great philanthropy throughout our American history, it really started at about the turn of the 20th century during the great industrialization of our country, when the middle class was really coming into being. And people had extra money to spend, and the great industrialists, Ford and Carnegie and Rockefeller, started making these magnificently large gifts to do great work. And women started contributing volunteer time. That was the women's part of it. The men gave big hunks of money, and the women gave time. And the Junior League, Mary Harriman formed the Junior League in 1901. And so this great upsurgence of money and volunteer work, helping to make our communities better in a collective manner, really is just so strong here in America. And talking about women and the changing role of women in philanthropy, it was interesting to me to go back and think about the timeline of women's history. So if you look, you can see even as early as the middle of the 19th century, the YWCA was formed, and then there you have at the turn of the century the Junior League, and on Alpha Kappa, Alpha the Great, African American sorority, and Jack and Jill, and on up until World War II, when women went back to work to help fill gaps in the working force. And that's really when you started seeing some changes and shifts in how women treated philanthropy, because now women were working and earning their own money and learning how to spend their own money. And so in 1972 was the first actual women's fund that was formed by women and for women, and it was the Ms. Foundation, formed in 1972. If you remember, that was the bra-burning era of the women's rights movement. And then on up until really the turn of the 21st century, where you see another major shift, and that's from individual philanthropy to group collective philanthropy. And that's where you start getting women's foundations and Impact 100 in 2001 at the turn right at the turn of the 21st century, and on into more recently the incredibly impactful group Women Moving Millions, if you've heard of that. That's a group of wealthy women, all who not $1,000 a year, but $1 million a year to do the same kind of work that you all are doing on a much larger scale. So how exciting is that? Because you're seeing this change in philanthropy I find pretty fascinating, because again, it rooted in the great volunteer effort and then moving forward into recognizing the power of the purse. And so it's very important. And the growing power of women in the world economically is just so exciting. The women are starting their own businesses, and they're rising through the ranks of major corporations, and of course they're the greatest consumers out there. And what's great about that is because the success of women floats all boats. Because women, if you think about it, you raise your family, as a woman, that's kind of has been our traditional role. And if your family is successful, your kids are successful, they finish high school, they go to college, they come back and improve whatever community they live in, and there's a cycle. And so women, that's the role of women, we improve the world. We make a huge difference to how financially viable the world is. And also young women, more women are going to college now than men. More women are getting master's degrees and PhDs than men. And that's a trend that's going to continue, and it won't be long before women are making equal pay as men, and soon will outstrip men as a whole, as the amount of money we're making. So that amount of money, think about that, the power of that influence, that financial influence. And these young girls going to school these days are really ready to take charge of this new economy. Things that we never even dreamed of. Remember that cell phone that was the size of a brick? I mean, what can you do now? I mean, my cell phone is like glued to my hand. I wouldn't know what I would do if I didn't have it. And so, and so women are going out and they are reinvesting in their communities. And so they're uplifting their communities financially and economically. And not just that, but they're still continuing to volunteer. So they're continuing to do things in the community to make their communities better. And that is a gender-linked thing. The combination of volunteer time and money for impact is unique to women. So y'all should be really proud of yourselves. And this says it, the financial power of women today is extraordinary. Let me see if the next slide I showed. It's coming up, but I have a slide that talks about how much money financially women are contributing to the world right now. It's quite amazing. Women control the consumer market. 90% of consumer decisions are made by women. I know you all know this because you make all your decisions at home. You pick, you go to the grocery store usually, and you decide what house you're going to buy. You decide what clothes your kids are going to wear. You decide what car you're going to drive. You decide where you're going to go on vacation. Women make 90% of all consumer decisions. So you can see again the power of that globally on global economies. So now women have, because women are getting better educated and are making more of their own money, they're giving more money away. which is wonderful. And there are various ways that women give money away. Of course, there's the traditional way, you make a direct donation to an individual organization. We still like to organize and attend events. We like to do things, buy auction items and go on trips. You buy the auction items. And we participate with our corporate giving campaigns, like our United Way campaigns. And sometimes, if we have a wealthy family, and this is appropriate, I work profession of a lot of family foundations. Because it's really important to women that their values, their philanthropic values, are passed on to the next generation. And so one way of doing that is if you have a family foundation, you can control how those values are passed down. Or through donor advised funds, which is another wonderful way to give philanthropically from your family. Or through community foundations, the same kind of similar to the United Way. It's giving to things that field of interest funds. So you don't necessarily have to make individual donations. You can make a collective donation to a foundation. And then the big thing, the growing thing, the huge trend is grassroots giving circles. And ladies, this is huge. If you haven't talked about this at the previous meetings, it's amazing how many giving circles there are out there now. And every day, new ones, new giving circles. So you think about what you're doing as individuals, pooling your resources, $100,000. I mean, that's a big ticket. I mean, really, you all are awesome. And think about other women doing the same thing in all these communities, and suddenly you're talking about big bucks. So what are the advantages of you all coming together and getting collective? Well, there are a lot of really wonderful advantages. First of all, you give more money away. Women who participate in giving circles give more money away. You also give the money more strategically, because you're really interested in the impact of what you do. And you spend a lot of time researching that. And you want to make sure that you're good stewards of this money that has been entrusted to the creator. And one of the wonderful things is giving circles tend to be diverse. Because the way you give collectively, you attract women of all ages, of all racial backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, of all wealth levels, and of all ages. Okay, I'm going to test this audience. I joined the Junior League in 1977. I want to see the hands of those of you who were not yet born. Yeah, I knew there'd be some of you out there. So that's wonderful. That's our next generation coming up to follow in our footsteps, and the responsibility that we all have to collectively bring them along. So thank you all for all of you. You know, we like to talk about the millennials, but that's important because millennial women who were born at the time that I joined the Junior League, were in 1980, which is when the first millennials were born. They approach giving a little bit differently than my generation did, and that's important because you want to have that perspective. Because guess what? Who's going to be running the world in another 5 years? The millennials. Giving circles also, members tend to be highly engaged in the community. If they weren't already engaged when they started participating in the giving circle, they got more engaged in the community than they had been before. So you can see the impact and the trickle down. Again, this connection between volunteering and giving money. What a strong connection that is. And through the giving circle, women learn a lot about the community, about the nonprofits, about the needs, about the things sometimes it blows your brains out when you go on a site visit and you just have no idea the wonderful work that's being done in this community. And that's one of the great things about being part of a circle of giving, is you get to learn about those needs in the community that you care about. So just back again, this is just a slide that shows the impact of giving. That 66% of women who join giving circles, their households give more money to charitable causes than before they join the Giving Circle. And here's the effect on volunteer time. 4650, that's 97%. Well, 46% increase in volunteer time. Think about that, how that equates out to what work is done in the community. And then you take your circle and the circle enrichment and on and on, and the Women United effort, the United Way, which I've been really involved with. All those efforts, all that multiple power of women, how extraordinary that is. And here we go. This is the statistic. Oops, let me go back. Sorry. This is just going to show you a graphic of what the combination of giving money and giving time does. And that's women's philanthropy in the 21st century. It's huge, it's big, and getting bigger by the day. By 2030, women will control, either by making it themselves or by inheriting it, sometimes by divorce, $33.5 trillion. Trillion dollars. I don't even know how many zeros that is. And their charitable giving could reach $569 billion. Now those are real numbers. So I'm going to end by telling you a quick little story. When my mom turned 75, I took her to Paris. She'd never been to Paris before. And so we went together and we had a lovely time, and we were out walking one day and we stumbled upon this construction site. And there was a guy who was picking up these bricks, and we were kind of walking kind of slowly away, and we kind of tapped him on the shoulder and said, monsieur, what are you doing? We don't speak very much French, but he kind of shrugged and looked at us like we were crazy. He said, what does it look like I'm doing now? I'm laying bricks. And we said, okay, well, And so we kept walking, and a little further down we came to a couple guys, and they were pulling the bricks off, and they had a little thing of mortar, and they were slapping the mortar down, and we said, hey guys, what are you doing? And they said, well, they looked at us again, kind of like, who are you? And they said, well, we're building a wall. And my mom said, that's interesting. And so we went a little further, and we came this group of guys, and they were like moving really fast, and they were pulling the bricks off that pile, and they were slapping down the mortar, and they were joking with each other and slapping each other in the back, and they looked really excited, and we said, gosh, guys, what are you doing? And they turned to us, and they looked at us with big eyes. And we said, oh, mademoiselle, we're building a cathedral. And so I tell you that story because you hear about philanthropy, and philanthropy is, you don't just give a hungry person a fish, you teach that hungry person how to fish. That's what philanthropy does. And so philanthropy means you don't just give a person a brick, it means you teach them how to build a cathedral. And that's what you all are going to be doing tonight. You're going to be building a cathedral in this community of some type. Your individual bricks that you give, your money, your dollars, bricks, together will have the power of building something as wonderful as a cathedral. So tonight, $100,000, y'all. I am so proud of you. You are awesome. Give it away, great, and do it again next year and again the year after. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, so much. Isn't it nice? We're building a cathedral, Brooke.
Do not press your buttons until you've heard all 5. Please. And then, remember, only press your buttons how many times? Twice. If you press, and we'll go through the voting instructions after all 5 presentations, because there's one little catch when you vote, so don't vote yet, okay? On that note, let's hear some speeches. Let's hear some talk.
You're so quick, Brooke. Come on, just give me a few seconds. seconds to give them some instructions. For the love of God, you've always been this way. I need you to keep an open mind for the entire group of presentations. And at this time, we're going to call these organizations up by number. You're going to need to remember this number order because that's going to become important during the voting process. So please join us now. Number 1 will be Transitions Family Violence Services.
Good evening. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. As I look out on this crowd, 1 in 3 women will experience rape, physical violence, or stalking by someone who claims to love them. Every 9 seconds in the United States, a woman is beaten. And last year, Transitions provided 5,133 nights of shelter to women, men, and children who were fleeing abuse from Hampton, Newport News, Pocosin, and York County. My name is Sanu Jang. I'm the Executive Director for Transitions Family Violence Services, and we are your local domestic violence agency. We believe that every woman, man, and child has the right to a healthy relationship, to be safe, to be respected, and to be able to flee to a safe haven to receive support, empowerment, and services. We are that place. We work with clients to be safe and give them the tools to transform their lives. The impact is in every person we serve. But why? Why are we necessary as an organization? Transitions' existence literally saves lives. I stand before you with 2 women and 1 child, part of the Silent Witness Project, a memorial to those who lost their lives to domestic violence in our community and what we're trying to prevent every day. Naisha Singleton, 26. Her story reads, "Change is inevitable, and I knew that to be true after I became a mother. My life changed forever, and although there were often challenges, I enjoyed every moment. The joys I experienced as a new mom encouraged my heart as my family began to grow. The emotional support from my family was a blessing and allowed me to be a woman of resilience and perseverance. I was a proud mother of 4 beautiful sons who I cherished and adored. I often dreamed about the day I would watch them transform from boys to men and men to fathers. Everything I did was to make sure they lived a life full of promise. When I received my promotion from the Virginia Department of Transportation, I knew my life was going in the right direction. An unexpected detour happened on June the 3rd, when I found myself running for my life. I desperately looked for help, but it was too late. Too late to say goodbye to family, friends, and most importantly, my 4 boys. I was shot multiple times by the father of my children. Carla Fry, 38, a Newport News teacher. Her story reads, "My estranged husband walked into our home and killed our 1-year-old daughter and my grandmother before stabbing and shooting me. He then set our home on fire. And lastly, Laquan Reagan, 11. His story reads, "My teachers, family, and friends said I was the protector of my family. I heard my mom and stepfather arguing. I walked towards their bedroom door. My stepfather grabbed me and cut my throat. He stabbed me 13 times. These silent witnesses represent why we exist, why we operate a 24/7 hotline and offer housing options for those who want to escape abuse and live a life free of violence. They symbolize the importance of our work and the necessity for individuals and families in our community to know we exist, to know you are not alone. We understand and can offer a fresh start. If you believe that everyone has the right to a healthy relationship and should be safe, we ask that you stand with us and make an impact and support our project. Today we are asking the Impact 100 Committee to support our request for an infrastructure improvement for Next Step, our transitional housing program, located at 240 Chapel Street in Hampton. Transitions continues to be the only transitional housing facility for women and child victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking from Hampton, Newport News, and Poquoson. We are not operating at full capacity due to the structural issues. However, if awarded these funds, we can offer housing to an additional family for 6 months to a year. Our plan is clear. A structural engineer has examined the premises, check. Drawings have been developed as a guide for a contractor to make the necessary repairs, check. Selecting a contractor and paying for the cost of repairs, that's where Impact 100 funds come in. Re-examining the structure for safety, follow-up, giving a family their own apartment to start a new beginning, priceless. By supporting this project, you will be supporting an invaluable service to this community. And with Impact 100 funds, Transitions will continue to operate this transitional housing program in the years to come with assurances that this repair is sustainable, we promise. Help us to continue to give women and children the option to flee abuse and reside in a transitional housing program like Transitions. Without us, they have limited options. Let us continue to help those in our community and prevent stories like Naisha Singleton, like Carla Fry, and like Laquan Reagan before they are silenced. Thank you.
We'd like to welcome Lackey Clinic to the stage.
Good evening. I'm Carol Sale, and it's my privilege to serve as the Executive Director of the Lackey Clinic. Thank you so much for having us. We are honored to be here tonight.
And I'm Chris Weininger. I'm a volunteer at the Lackey Clinic. And we're here this evening to talk about dentistry. I get it. It's not a very sexy topic. But let me ask you something. How many of you have ever had a horrible toothache? Raise your hand. Oh, yeah? Yeah. And those are just the ones that'll admit it. Yeah, okay. Me too. And let me tell you this. I'd rather take my size 10 feet and stuff them into size 6, pointy-toed, high-heeled, 9 West, pumps, and run a 5K than ever go through that again. But we're fortunate. We have access to great dental care. Not everybody is so lucky, and the consequences can be devastating.
So let me introduce you to Frederick. And here's how Frederick described his life when he came to our door, and I'm going to read you his words because they are his story. Frederick said, "I couldn't breathe. I would go to the emergency room 3 or 4 times a week, and they would give me oxygen and send me home. I loved to fish, but I couldn't reel in the fish because I wasn't getting oxygen, and I just couldn't breathe. My friends had to help me. I had heart problems, and before I could have surgery, I needed some teeth removed. But I couldn't afford that, and I was in despair. I thought, how much longer can my heart go on?" It's hard to imagine, but Frederick's teeth were killing him. His infected teeth were relentlessly weakening his heart, the valve in his heart, and he just couldn't breathe. He easily could have quietly died in his sleep, at home in his bed, one more statistic in our community, from a preventable death due to a treatable disease.
Now, Frederick is not alone, and neither are his circumstances unique. So this very big number right here, 35,000, this is the number of people in our area, in Newport News and the surrounding area, that have no access to health care because they have no health insurance. They don't qualify for Medicaid, and they don't qualify for any other kind of federal assistance. So most of these families are forced to wait until their dental problems become acute, and they end up in the emergency room. All right, one more time. Have any of you ever ended up in the emergency room with an abscessed tooth or an infected tooth? Okay, I got one. Thank you so much. Then you know that the emergency room is not equipped to deal with dental problems. They do their best. They will send you home with antibiotics, if you're lucky, some really good painkillers, and they'll tell you to call your dentist on Monday morning. But that doesn't take care of the problem, and it just keeps getting worse.
So, what are we going to do with the $50,000 that you may invest? Meet Dr. Brooke Hassenfeld. Dr. Hassenfeld is a part-time dentist at the clinic who puts her hands on a lot of the patients. And she does it with restoring fillings and with comprehensive exams. And the investment of the Impact 100 group will go towards Dr. Brooks' salary and benefits. When absolutely necessary to relieve the incredible pain that patients are experiencing, she does extractions to put a permanent end to their pain.
Here are some other big numbers. 2,000 patients. That's the number of individual patients the Lackey Clinic serves each year. They come from all walks of life, they come from many different beliefs and many different circumstances. But we serve them all regardless. 890, that's the number of dental patients we serve each year. And 6,146 is the number of dental procedures we carry out in our little clinic every year. So how do we sustain all of these big numbers? Well, the first thing you should know is that the Lackey Clinic each year delivers $11 million in medical services, and we do it for just $2 million. How? Because we have over 350 volunteers, many of whom are medical practitioners who donate their time to the clinic. And we also have a lot of lay volunteers as well. Now, I've had my own business for about 25 years, but I'm no money manager. In fact, I'm terrible with money. And the reason is, well, in a word, shoes. But even I know that $11 million worth of services for $2 million is a really good social impact investment.
So let me tell you how Frederick's story ends. Once again, in his own words, and with a little bit of a slightly toothless smile. He said, I came to Lackey Clinic, they removed my teeth, and 2 weeks later, I was having my heart surgery. Lackey changed my life. I'm 100%, and I feel right at home here.
Came in just under the wire. Good job, ladies. It is the shoes. We ladies are all about the shoes. This time, we'd like to call up Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is John Doherty, and I'm the Vice President of Community Workforce at Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia. And this is my trusted colleague, Kevin Alston. At Goodwill, we believe that work is the foundation for empowering individuals, strengthening families, and creating prosperous communities. Let's go back to that cathedral image. And Goodwill has been doing just that across our region for nearly 100 years, serving hundreds of thousands of individuals facing challenges to employment. Your investment will be a catalyst, the thing that drives Goodwill in the Hampton region forward, an innovative solution to take individuals with barriers to employment to the next level by reaching into the community and advancing our social mission enterprise. Our project, Building, thank you for the lead into that tonight, Building Communities That Work, is focused on bridging Goodwill's mission, passion, and purpose to the peninsula through helping to transform the Old Hampton community. We are fortunate to be one of several collaborators working together to lift up this community, and we thank the Peninsula Community Foundation for its leadership role in this effort. Goodwill made a significant investment in creating a community employment center earlier this year in Hampton, located near the Coliseum on Seville Road. This center doubles our capacity to provide job readiness services to the region by 2020. And your support will ensure that a nearby community in need will have access to the life-changing services offered through our center. A few facts about the Old Hampton community to put things in perspective. Current unemployment average is 10% in the Old Hampton community against a 3.9% state average. 22% of residents live 50% or more below the federal poverty level. And 77% of those individuals over age 25 have less than a college degree. And this community is recognized as a priority area for urban redevelopment, which means it's ripe for allowing public and private collective and sustainable impact. Your $50,000 investment in building communities that work will expand access to essential workforce resources to that community. It will fund a community employment center service that are made available completely free, whether that's education and training, job readiness, the support of individuals, an employment assistant like Kevin, to guide people down a pathway to success. And it will help us build those relationships with employers who will commit to employing these individuals and helping raise them out of poverty. And most importantly, your investment will transform the lives of residents in Old Hampton today and for generations to come. So a year from now, how will the peninsula be different because of this investment? The residents of Old Hampton will be empowered to succeed for themselves. The peninsula will have a beacon of hope in Goodwill as a proven workforce development partner. And Goodwill will be a proven partner in replicating this model across peninsula communities. So how do we plan to do this? Provide accessible, quality care to roughly 100 individuals living at or below the poverty level in the Old Hampton community. 60 of these individuals completing job readiness assessments and developing individualized career plans. 45 individuals securing their Virginia Career Readiness Certificate, and 45 individuals securing employment on a career pathway that will carry them up and out of poverty. So Kevin, how will the Women of Impact 100 help us do all of this? First, it's about instilling hope. Reaching into the community to let them know we are there to support them and their needs and their families' needs. Then we'll discover. Our staff, folks such as Kevin, learn about the individual strengths and challenges of the individuals within that community and build an individual career plan that leads them down that pathway. And together, we'll develop that career plan on the skills and abilities and interests of the individual. And last but not least, we will empower them. We'll empower them to find their own strength, their own skills and talents, and carry them forward, to lead them on a pathway of opportunity. So what is transformational about building communities that work? Your support will empower individuals to take ownership of the resources available to transform their lives. Your support will engage citizens to define their future success and that of the Hampton Roads community that they live in. And Old Hampton will be a community that works, embracing work and the resources available to them to build a community of prosperity. But I'm going to invite you now to not take it from me and my role, but to take it from someone who knows it firsthand, Kevin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Austin. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Hampton, growing up most of my life in Old Hampton. Since joining Goodwill, I've experienced the good in Goodwill through the many different programs and opportunities they provided for me, my family, and our community. Several years ago, I was unfortunate. I got a DUI, and it was a life-changing event. One of the lowest points in my life. I lost my job, I lost my driver's license. I ended up in a major financial hardship. It made me question myself, my capabilities. I had to accept employment, not in my field, but just to make ends meet for me and my family. Then I applied to Goodwill. In March of this year, I received a call for an interview. My manager, Marilyn Richardson, interviewed me, and from the beginning, she was straightforward about the job and many things that Goodwill could do for me and my family. Most importantly, she restored hope. She gave me the opportunity to be able to take care of my family once again. Today, it's gratifying to see when a job seeker comes into our facility, the Community Employment Center, often feeling broken with low self-esteem, and watch them find hope, discover their skills, and get on a path to success. And I take pleasure when a job seeker returns to us with a smile on their face.
That's a good way to go.
Okay, number 4, come to the stage now, is Ark of Greater Williamsburg.
Good evening. My name is Pam McGregor. I'm the director for the Ark of Greater Williamsburg. It is an honor to be here tonight and my privilege to represent the Ark of Greater Williamsburg. Everyone in this room has a story, and I believe everyone in this room can tell her own story. Many of our Ark clients can as well. But many people with intellectual and developmental disabilities need our help. We are their advocates, and we are privileged to know them and share their stories. My good friend and ARC mom, Donna Dayton, would like to share a story of her own.
I have an amazing son. His name is Drew. He's funny, kind, and compassionate. He also happens to have Down syndrome. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I call life after 21 when you have a disability. Spoiler alert, it does not include recalling where you purchased your first legal margarita. High school graduation is typically a joyous time filled with dreams of becoming independent, starting a career, and doing whatever it is that makes you happy with your friends. Unfortunately, after Drew's high school graduation, we quickly learned we were falling into a black hole. While we know Drew is amazing, he doesn't look good on paper. He's nonverbal, cannot be left alone, and requires assistance with personal care. You get the picture. Therefore, he was unable to obtain employment. Options for a productive, fulfilling day were bleak. As do many working parents in our situation, we were very concerned as to how to provide meaningful experiences for his day. It is heartbreaking to think that your child will be isolated. We didn't know what to do. There was no government agency giving us ideas as parents. We felt that after advocating for Drew and his friends for many years that we had failed. We were at the end of the road and Drew was only 21 years old. It was overwhelming, to say the least. And then the sun came out. The ARC of Greater Williamsburg established the ARC of Abilities Day Support Program. It saved our son and our family. Drew is thrilled to be part of this unparalleled successful program. He is happier than ever to grow and learn with his friends. He is a useful, contributing member of our community. He has a purposeful life. Drew and his friends deserve a life like ours. We deserve to have Drew and his friends in our lives. They genuinely care about others and sincerely appreciate every ounce of kindness that they may receive in return. I am so very thankful for your consideration for this program. By doing so, you are validating that Drew and his friends matter, that you recognize and include them in our community and welcome their contributions to our world. If you ever need a ray of sunshine, stop by the ARC of Abilities. I promise you'll leave with a smile on your face.
So, the ARC is there when the school bus stops coming. We have proudly served adults in the Greater Williamsburg community since 1976, with 8 to 10 activities each month in the evening. With 2,100 students currently in special education in our community, we know that we will be welcoming many of those students someday to the ARC. But what has always been lacking in our community was a program that served our clients during the day. In March 2016, an opportunity presented itself. Through our partnership with James City County Parks and Rec, the ARC Board of Directors and our parents went to work. A 7-week pilot flourished, and a 3-day-per-week program turned into 4, and we doubled the number of clients served at the Abram Frink Jr. Community Center. The Arc of Abilities has changed the lives of our clients and their families. People with developmental disabilities digress quickly. Therefore, our incredible instructors and volunteers conduct daily rotations that include continuing education with literacy, math, and technology instruction, as well as life skills and vocational training. Partnerships with area businesses have given them real on-the-job training, experience, and pride in learning a skill. The community center is adjacent to James River Elementary School, where another partnership blossomed and where our clients volunteer. Some read with kindergartners, shelve books in the library, take down bulletin boards, or work in the community garden. Not only are they doing important work, they are an example to all those students that see them each day. Maybe one day, that kindergarten student that Alexis read to will be inspired to become a special ed teacher. Or maybe a child with some challenges will one day join Arc of Abilities. $50,000 has an immediate and tremendous impact on Arc of Abilities. We would be able to hire another instructor and begin to accept clients off our wait list, including some who can't afford a $450 a month tuition. We can offer financial aid in the form of partial and full scholarships and still provide a sustainable program going forward. Your recognition and this award lend credibility to the work that we do. Drew and his friends matter, and Arc of Abilities matters to them. Ladies, this is not special needs. These are human needs. Impact 100's goal, your goal, was a grant that would transform lives, and this does. And 1 year from now, or 5 or 10, you can look back and feel proud that you were part of Arc of Abilities and part of their life stories. Thank you for your consideration and generosity.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call last but certainly not least, number 5, Literacy for Life.
Good evening. I am Joan Peterson, the Executive Director of Literacy for Life. Thank you so much for this opportunity. In the next few minutes, I believe you will see the value and the impact of our program and why it is so very worthy of your hard-earned money. Literacy for Life has a 42-year history of improving lives. Maybear Gonzalez is just one of thousands whose lives have been changed and transformed through our educational services, and she's here to share her story.
Good evening. 3.5 years ago, I had a painful life in Venezuela. I was a nurse. My husband and I had a beautiful 3-year-old son, Matias. One day, we had a terrifying experience. President Maduro's police raided our home. They were looking for money or evidence that we were political enemies. Our lives were in danger. We came to the United States and applied for political asylum. We left everything behind. I didn't speak a word of English. However, Matthias was safe, and our family was together. We settled in Williamsburg, and I enrolled at Leadership for Life. My English improved a little bit every day. I expected to learn English at Leadership for Life, but I didn't expect all the other ways they would improve my life. The staff helped me research preschool, and I enrolled Matthias. I also took the health literacy class. I learned to make appointments and communicate with doctors as a result of learning English. A few weeks ago, I got my first job as certified medical assistant. My next goal is to enroll in a nursing school. There are so many other people just like me at Leadership for Life. Some are immigrants and some were born in the US. All of us are looking for education. Our priority is to make the best possible life for our children. I am so grateful because now my family has opportunity and hope. We can live, work, and raise our son where we are safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Literacy for Life is an adult literacy agency, and we certainly understand that when you teach a parent, you reach a child. With your support, we will launch the new Empowering Parents program for parents with limited literacy skills. The program will consist of 4 components: health literacy, work skills, navigating the school system, and family literacy. The first component will be Literacy for Life's national award-winning health literacy curriculum called HEAL. Let me share a story. We learned about a loving mother who wasn't able to read the directions on the formula that she was instructed to give her newborn. She didn't realize the formula had to be diluted, and as a result, she nearly killed her baby. Sadly, stories like this are not uncommon. The HEAL module will improve parents' ability to access medical care, communicate with doctors, and manage their children's health. For the second component, we will teach the work skills necessary for finding and keeping a living wage job. When parents can support their families, children are not battling poverty, stress, and hunger. Now imagine if you couldn't read a report card, participate in a parent-teacher conference, or write a simple note to explain an absence. The third component will give parents the skills needed to navigate the school system. The final component focuses on family literacy. Parents will practice reading books aloud, exchange ideas for enjoying books with their children, and then take the books home to read with their children and build a home library. Our first partner for this project will be Matthew Whaley Elementary, a school where over 40% of the children receive free or reduced lunch, and where there has been a recent 50% increase in the number of children with limited English proficiency. The school will provide transportation and childcare, which are the 2 most common hurdles to adults seeking skills at our program. Your $50,000 investment will fund the first 2 years of the Empowering Parents program. We will hire a program coordinator, train teachers, purchase books and supplies. We, Literacy for Life, have a proven track record of developing innovative and effective programs, and then securing the necessary funding and partnerships to sustain and replicate them. Perhaps more importantly, though, with your seed funding, by the end of 2 years, we will have improved the lives of 50 families. But perhaps more importantly, though, we will be poised to scale the program to even more families throughout the peninsula and beyond, just like we've done with our health literacy program. And just like Mayberry, we all want children to be safe and healthy, to have their economic needs met, and to succeed in school. We all want children to experience the warmth and love and learning that comes from sharing a book. So I urge you to vote for the Empowering Parents program. As your result of your investment, parents will learn, children will thrive.
Chelsea Courtney nudged me and made me do that. That was not fun. That was not fair. I need to share one very important announcement with you. Courtney's shoe has broken. No. I'm not kidding. Courtney's shoe is broken. That's why I stood up and I'm having this moment with y'all. All right. This is hard. We got to this moment last year and we realized this is really hard. We had 5 wonderful finalists. I want to thank them for the time and the energy and all the work they did. I would like them all to gracefully please exit the room and hang out in the lobby while we talk about you and vote. Please don't go yet. And I would ask that if we can have people in the back shut the doors when they get back there, please. I think we all need to take Courtney shoe shopping before next year's event. She needs to know on that note. All right. As everybody is exiting the room, let's talk about how the vote went out. Okay. So we've gone on scale with the voting, and we have our clicker this year. Peninsula Community Foundation was gracious in helping us get these. If you're an individual, your job is to select 2 out of 5. So you're going to vote either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, one of those. When you press the button, hang on here, when you press the button, it may have a low battery sign. That's okay. As long as it goes green, you're good. Only vote 2 times. You can't go back and change your vote. You can't add a 3rd. It's not going to work, okay? If you are a team, you need to huddle, because y'all get to argue and decide and pick 2, okay? And again, if you're a team and one of you picks 2 and then y'all change your mind, it's not going to work, okay? We have allotted 20 minutes for voting. All these votes are automatically tabulated. They're going to be sent to a computer system. While that's being done, the tabulation, I'm going to ask y'all to stay here. We're actually going to hear how your money was put to use from last year. Question? So when you're ready to vote, you just push the 2 numbers you want? When you're ready to vote, you push the 2 numbers that you want, and you're in.
Like, push it with the first one, maybe the second one.
Yes, and the order does not matter. Okay? Got it? You're only going to press 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of those. Okay. Ready? Hold up.
We do encourage you not to, we want to give you the full 20 minutes if you need it, but if you don't need the full 20 minutes, if you could let us know, so we can, move the evening along, that would be appreciated as well. Get ready, go.
So I'm a little worried that this, and then it would come up and I would know.
Yeah, and I've already done it places. I tried mine should miss the first time. The second time I did 5. Showed 5.
Okay. But I don't know.
I don't think
Hang on 1 second. When you're finished voting, you're welcome to pass these to one side. If you have any Nancy Beach is offering to collect
I
them.
voted.
If you're done
You voted?
voting, please pass to the side.
Y'all got baskets?
Any questions, or is everybody good?
Wonderful. It was a march. It was a march choice, wasn't it?
Oh, okay, okay. Because I've been in Chile for years. I know you're going to vote it okay. Every once in a while, you say, yes, exactly. And it worked for me.
Okay, please make sure if you have voted, you have turned in your clicker. I need everybody to start coming back into the room. We still got one. We got it? Okay. We'd love our finalists to join us back in the room. And we're done. Okay. We're going to ask them to come back in the room. Thank you for your voting. Finalists, come back in. All right. So one of the questions we have been asked from last year is, how was your money spent last year? What good has it done in the community? And we want to hear 1 year later what those results are. So while the votes are being tabulated, we are going to ask Launch. We're going to ask Launch, which is the program by the Center for Child and Family Services, to come forward, please. We'll let everybody come on in the room. Take your seats again. I need Mr. Mertz doing the lights out there. The balloons. Oh, the balloons. I was ready.
Working with the Center for Child and Family Services, and we were awarded one of the Impact 100 grants last year. So I've been I had prepared for 10 minutes, but I've been told to cut it in half so the New Yorkers can come out and talk really good. So, what is the Launch Program? The Launch Program was started in 2014 initially through funding from the Bernardine Franciscan Sisters Foundation and through the generous donations of Impact 100 has continued today. We service youth who are aging out of systems of care in Hampton and Newport News, ages 17 to 24. What we do is we look to put together a plan for their independence. We provide trauma-informed counseling, case management, job readiness training, and life skills training. And these are just what I wanted to share with you is some of the statistics and challenges that are faced by youth who are aging out of foster care and incarceration. So this is who we serve. Youth aging out in Hampton and Newport News, ages 17 to 24. We propose to serve 35 youth. As of September 1st, we served 37. And since 2004, we have served 142 youth. So there's 5 components to the program. The program is voluntary, it's free. Youth can partake in just one or all parts of it. The trauma-informed counseling, we recognize how trauma, past and current, impacts someone's life, and therefore we provide free individual and family counseling to any participant. With the housing, we recognize that if you're 18 or 19, there's very limited housing resources out there in the community. So what we do is we we assist them in finding and securing stable housing in the community, as well as we're able to provide them a small stipend to help with the monthly challenges of maintaining your own household. Education, success, and support. A lot of the youth that are referred to me have really disconnected themselves from school. So what I do is I work with them to identify any barriers that may be in place, as well as help them get reconnected with some type of educational program, as well as get them to think beyond high school. So college, vocational training, certificate programs, something to put them on a path towards a career. Job readiness training, which is the expertise of my coworker and partner in crime, Mr. McDew. What we do is we focus on soft job skills, so really teaching these youth how to sell themselves in a job interview. We do a lot of mock interviewing. They hate it, but they can all answer the question, tell me something about yourself. We also do resume building, help them fill out job applications. When they finish the job training, they're provided direct referrals to employers in the community who are hiring. These are contacts that Mr. McDew has gone out personally and made. The life skills training is a monthly group. That's where we provide hands-on monthly life skills training. We've done budgeting, how to buy a car, how to get an apartment, values, goal setting, and what we've literally gone to an apartment building and gone through the process of renting an apartment, gone to a car and gone through the process so that they can see what the process is actually like. We also do different activities every year we do a ropes, where we go to Adventure Park in Virginia Beach, and it's a team building activity, and at the end of it, the youth challenge themselves, step outside their comfort zone, and we really sort of come together as a collective family afterwards. These are just some the statistics I provided earlier. I compared them against ours. The two that stood out, the employment. We actually provided employment and job training to 49% of the youth that came through the program. That's 18 out of 37. As you can see, is a real challenge for us. And we had to get very, very creative. We have a substance abuse program that we're able to refer youth to for free, that we've been using a lot of because substance use is a huge barrier to success for the youth that we work with. So where do we go from here? The program will continue. We actually have funding to purchase a house to provide residential services. So lastly, am I going fast enough? Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to share some of the stories of some of the youth who've actually come through the program because I think that makes it a little more real. John was 19 years old, was referred from Hampton DSS. He was aging out of foster care, transitioning back into his parents' home. Came to me for help with employment and housing. He actually went through the job training a month ago, went out on his own and got his first job at Busch Gardens, which he absolutely loves. And now we're talking about housing. Jacob, 20, was referred to me by Hampton DSS. He aged out of foster care and his housing situation was very unstable. We used to refer to Jacob as the Rolling Stone because every time he would call me, he'd be somewhere different. I'm in Petersburg, I'm in Gloucester, which was really hard to provide services for him. But several months ago, he stayed put. He got a job. When they cut his hours, got a second job. And what really impressed Mr. McDew and I about him was his work ethic. He would walk 2 hours to work every day, overtime. Well, he was just a wonderful employee. And then he recently, unfortunately, got into a little situation, an altercation, and he's actually currently incarcerated, but we're working to get him released. And his employer has said that the moment he gets out, he will hire him back. That's the type of employer. Marcus, 20, was referred to me by Hampton Probation. He spent the majority of his juvenile and early part of his adult year on probation, primarily for truancy, not any criminal behavior. And when he was referred to me, he wanted employment as well as to get back into school. So we helped him get a job with Farm Fresh, and then he enrolled in the Performance Learning Center to complete his GED. Unfortunately, he connected with the wrong crowd and is actually currently on the run, and I have not had contact with him for about a month. But I share that story because I want you to understand every story is not, this fantastic success story that, it's a lot of ups and downs. Lastly is Tiana. She was so kind to come with me this evening. These are her words, but she's a little nervous, so she asked if I would read it for her. Good evening. My name is Tiana, and I'm 18 years old. I was referred to the launch program by Hampton Social Services. When I think back to when I was referred to Miss Erica, that was a very different time in my life. I was court involved with various charges: assault and battery, destruction of property, and truancy. I was also violent and short-tempered, resorting to fighting to solve my problems. I was disrespectful to my parents and other adults, and I really didn't like school, so I would oftentimes skip. My behavior was really out of control. When I was referred to Miss Erica, I didn't really want to be a part of the program, but I knew I had to, so I didn't put up much of a fight. After I met Miss Erica, I was excited to join. I've learned many positive skills from being a part of the launch program. I've learned people skills, how to handle people with personalities that are different from mine. I have been able to develop new friendships and relationships with peers, as well as meet and interact with inspiring people. I've also learned how to control my anger, as well as think before I react. As far as the life skills, I've been taught about budgeting, healthy relationships, sexually transmitted infections, buying a car, and getting an apartment. During my time with the Launch Group, I also completed the job readiness program and was able to secure my first job with Waffle House, which I loved. Currently, with the help of Mr. McDoom and Ms. Erica, I'm looking for something new. However, I know I have the skills and ability to secure better employment opportunity. I think Launch has been a very beneficial program. I believe through the things I have learned and the people I have met, I have been transformed into a better person. It would be my hope that this program could be available to many other youth and young adults. Thank you.
Want to know your money hard at work? Right there. And Erica, congratulations to you. Thank you both. And we're getting your big things going forward. All right, we'd like to have one child come forward again. This is your second winner from last year.
Good evening. My name is Julie Culliford, and I am the co-founder and executive director of One Child Center for Autism.
And I'm Lisa Thomas, and I'm the Deputy Director of Child Development Resources. We are so excited for the 5 finalists. Y'all did such a great job. And last year, we were standing here asking for your help to expand the One Child Kids Night, the Kids Night Out program, the respite program. And we explained to you how families of children with special needs often have some financial costs associated with care, as well as some physical and emotional demands. And so Kids Night provides a service to these families by providing a night of excellent care with highly qualified and trained staff in a fun and engaging environment at minimal or no cost to the families that provides a chance for kids to be physically active and socially engaged. And we are happy to report that Kids Night has made a significant impact on families throughout the peninsula. This year alone, over 200 different families have participated in Kids Night. And even though the program is in Williamsburg, families come from all over, from Hampton to New Kent County, Charles City to Hayes, so kind of north, south, east, west. And every month, between 100 and 120 children gather with a professional staff of 20 and a small army of over 40 volunteers from community organizations and businesses right within the community.
The impact cannot be understated, and you don't have to take our word for it. In a survey conducted in May, we learned that Kids Night was the only source of respite for over 80% of our families, and a reduction in stress was given as the single largest overall benefit for our families. Kids Night is as much about children as it is about parents. Parents reported that Kids Night directly benefited their children by giving them opportunities for positive social interactions, as well as the ability to try new skills, like jumping on trampolines, climbing in and out of a foam pit, or playing soccer on the turf. Given all of this information, it's not surprising to learn that nearly 100% of families that participate in Kids Nights return in subsequent months. The Impact 100 grant helped our organizations forge a lasting collaboration and create a viable program for families in our community. We have been successful in securing a variety of sponsorships and donations to maintain the program into year 2 and continue to work together in achieving possibility. Kids Night is a magical night of possibilities, a night where differences are negligible and what you can do is more important than what you can't. Seeing is truly believing. We hope you enjoy this short video of Kids Night.
Hi, this is Faye, and we're here at Kids Night, and we are very excited. Kids Night is a wonderful opportunity for Faith to have 4 hours to be herself. We know she's safe, having a great time, and we get time as a family. My husband and I get time to have a meal or do some things around the house, and it's absolutely priceless. And she loves it. It's her favorite, and you can't praise it anymore than that.
We're the Marmon family, and we are huge fans of Respite Night. Respite Night represents everything that's great about the world, whether it comes from volunteers that are involved, we have teachers, we have therapists, we have business owners, kids in the community, coming together just to be a part of something that's awesome for our kids, where they get to come and play and learn and do a lot of cool stuff. And it gives mom and dad a night to ourselves where we get to go out and have some adult time, which is a nice little break. But it really is remarkable. You know, when we drop the kids off, we're thrilled by the idea of what's going on here. When we pick up every night, our kids are just wiped out from having so much fun, and we couldn't imagine being a part of something better than this.
Because you can make a lot of friends and you do a lot of stuff, and it's awesome. Because you get to play, and all the volunteers here.
We love Kids Night so much because it gives her an opportunity to play with so many friends, and she sees kids here that she's seen before, and they all have so much fun. She starts asking about different kids that are going to be there. Once I tell her that, you know, this weekend is going to be the Kids Night party weekend,
I'm so happy.
I feel safe leaving. This is the only time that I have ever felt safe with leaving. It's just completely here for everyone. Loves the kids, and it's just an amazing experience. I don't know what we would do without it, honestly. I mean, it's the best. It's been the best thing for our family. Truly good gift.
So guys, a moment. You've been waiting for.
Here comes Deloitte and Touche. Is that what it is? This has been professionally calculated. We must thank the City of Hampton for their generous donation to allow us to use their electronic voting system. And thank you for the Peninsula Community Foundation for their support to allow this to support us through this effort. We're going to ask each organization to join us up here at this stage. I first want to say this, that there are no losers in any of this effort. You are each wonderful, excellent organizations. Your efforts are to be appreciated, and we thank you very much. The two winning organizations this year are, first, Transitions. For you. But I do want you to know, organizations, that within the next month, you will be signing your grants agreements with us at Impact 100 and the Peninsula Community Foundation, and you will actually be awarded your cash check.
And first of all, there was a little conversation going on up here. I'd like the rest of them to come up.
Jennifer Wells from the Peninsula Community Foundation. Can you please join us up here on this stage? I'm doing it, Sydney. Please, all organizations, please join us on this stage. First of all, we want to congratulate the winners again. We look forward to working with you throughout this year. But it also gives me, and on behalf of the steering committee, great pleasure and really goosebumps to inform you that the Peninsula Community Foundation was very inspired this evening. This is exactly the kind of ripple that we hope that Impact 100 instills in our friends, our co-workers, and every member who participate in those organizations that will be touched by our impact. We would like for Jennifer Wells to please join me in making an announcement.
Good evening. I am Jennifer Wells with the Peninsula Community Foundation. I'm the Director of Grants. And first I want to say, wow, you guys did an amazing job. I know it was a hard decision, but we just gave out $100,000 tonight. And I want to thank all the Impact committee members and all you donors that are making these possible. We couldn't do it without you.
During the presentations, I made a quick phone call to my boss, Mike Monteith, the Peninsula Community Foundation, and I was half in tears over these wonderful presentations. I said, come on now. It's a party. Nobody goes home empty-handed, I'm sorry. So he did agree with not much begging, pleading, nothing. He just instantly agreed that we would like to present Goodwill, the Ark of Greater Waysburg, and Lackey Free Clinic, a small gift from the Peninsula Community Foundation for your wonderful presentations. So you'll be receiving that within the next couple weeks from us, just for your hard work and dedication. We just really think that nobody goes home empty-handed tonight.
To Trisha Russell and Sydney Jordan.
No, you did not, and I would encourage you not to. Let me state that my broken shoe represents exactly what these organizations represent. The fact that you take things that don't always work out as you hope, don't always look as pretty as they were intended to look, and yet you go forth and you change lives. And I'm going to put a little blue in my shoe. It's going to look pretty once again. I've worn it twice. I'm very disappointed. It's my fault. Hold on, just let me get through my comments for the love of God. Finishing this process. So, here are my housekeeping comments. If you did not recognize that there is a new membership form in your packet, there is a new membership form in your packet. We gave out $100,000 this year, collectively over a 2-year period. We've made a $200,000 commitment to this community, and that is much to be celebrated. If you'd like to have friends who would like to join the movement of Impact 100, we invite you to be a part of this on Tuesday, October 24th of 2017, from 5:30 to 6:30, where we will give you wine, and we will tell you about the organization at 6 o'clock at Ferguson Enterprises. But more importantly, we have some thank yous to give. Brooke and I have appreciated the opportunity over the past 2 years to lead this new effort. We want to thank the steering committee, the members past and present, and the organizations who have been with us as we launch this for the community. And let's face it hasn't always gone as smoothly as we had hoped, hence the fact they took my shoe. But we do have the honor of welcoming new leadership in the chair roles for next year. We wish the very best to Trisha Russell and Sydney Jordan, and I hope that your shoes fare better than mine did. At this time, I invite you to say whatever the heck you want.
Courtney, let me say the final word, guys. Hey, it's been a great, fun beginning. This is a legacy. We're doing it year after year because it's fun. Thank you.